Well,
And we're live.
hi.
Hi, I'm Richard.
I'm Kim. We're esoteric.
Welcome to our webinar series preview.
Preview series.
R.L.A. is the name of our series. And let me...
Make us a little smaller. We're awfully big.
Here, we'll pop up.
There you are. I like that.
There we go. Okay, so Kim, what is on the screen?
Well, on the screen is the latest and the greatest and the newest and the hippest and the most happening webinar that we have planned tomorrow.
It's what's it says right here?
Shaking the Raymond Chandler Tree, New Discoveries About L.A.'s Master Detective Novelist.
Okay, so Raymond Chandler is a detective novelist. He's my hero. He's your hero.
We really like him a lot.
Really,
he certainly created
Angelino.
A different way of looking at Los Angeles true crime through a lens of really beautifully written, moralistic stories. His anti-hero, his alter ego,
Philip Marlowe
is an extraordinary character. And so we're doing a whole webinar, not just about what you usually think of as Raymond Chandler stories, but things that we've discovered over 13 years of hosting Raymond Chandler tours. We decided to do a little individual personal research, and we just kept finding things that weren't part of the canon, weren't in his autobiographies, even things that he hadn't necessarily wanted the world to know. But, respectfully, when you leave clues behind and you're a detective novelist, people will find them. And here we are to share.
Good. Yes. I know that the esoteric origin story is intrinsic to the Raymond Chandler tour, and we don't give bus tours we don't give bus tours at the moment.
Nobody does. Well, actually, some people do. Apparently, double-decker buses.
Okay,
yeah,
Kim,
I don't want to be on one of those.
The esoteric origin story is intrinsically tied up with Raymond Chandler, so it's a big deal for us. I want to get to some photos from that we're going to show on the webinar.
On Saturday.
Let's put us.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, let's just float in the air.
Okay, so we're here. So this is the intersection. This is the intersection of 7th and Broadway in 1928. I checked that. It's 1928. So why are we interested in the intersection of 7th and Broadway in downtown Los Angeles, this is a picture of bullocks, and across the street is Clifton's, is the Bose Brothers Cafeteria, what will become Clifton's Cafeteria in 1935, right? About 7 years later. So why are we interested in this intersection, Kim?
Because at the lower left, there's a cop, and he's standing there directing traffic. And if somebody starts to cross the street, he's going to make sure they do so safely. And I'm not sure if this is our cop, but one of the cops who worked at this very, very busy beat was a guy named Thomas H. James, and he is one of our Raymond Chandler discoveries. He is one of a number of people whose role in Los Angeles true crime history positions them to possibly be one of the real-life Philip Marlowes that Raymond Chandler drew on when he created this iconic character.
This is a great subset.
Yeah.
Real life.
They're all really interesting people.
Yeah, candidates. These are really interesting men. They're very interesting.
And so we're going to talk about Thomas H. James, who worked right here at this corner until he got bumped out of the cops for being a do-gooder who was trying to reform a corrupt institution, not just the police, but also the mayor's office. And he is quite likely someone who Raymond Chandler met while he was working at this corner, 7th and Olive.
Right. So we've just changed slides. We've gone.
Can you bring us down? That's really disorienting when we're floating up in the air. Put us on the sidewalk with that cute gal. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Here we go.
So this is the intersection of 7th and Olive.
Yes.
So this is just 2 blocks to the west. We're looking at the at the left corner there. We see the Bank of Italy building, and directly in front, across the street, is the Los Angeles Athletic Club. So why is this important to Raymond Chandler, the oil executive, Kim?
So that building at the upper left, the Bank of Italy, had offices above, and the entire top floor pretty much was taken up with a company called the Dabney Oil Syndicate. And that is where Raymond Chandler, who was a middle-aged man who liked to drink and run around with ladies, was an oil company executive. It's where he learned everything that he knew about corruption in the highest ranks of power and influence and wealth in Los Angeles. And the people that he got to know while working at Dabney, while lunching across the street at the Los Angeles Athletic Club, and while going on walks at his lunch hour in this part of downtown Los Angeles before the great bust of 1929, when LA was just filled with Sharpies and sharks and con artists.
C.C. Julian.
C.C. Julian, Bubbles. He learned so much, and a lot of that ends up in his fiction. And we just love the fact that this block is almost entirely unchanged. And just recently, that Bank of Italy building, which was closed for years, was derelict. It was full of pigeons. It was reopened. It's the Nomad Hotel and quite beautifully restored. So it's a place now that, well, not at the moment, but recently, people who love Raymond Chandler could go inside and sort of soak up the feeling of what it would be like to be Raymond Chandler as a young man.
Good. Okay. So we're going to move on.
There's so much else to talk about.
Okay. So this webinar, we also, the second half of the webinar, Kim, we have a treat. It's not a surprise anymore, but it is a treat.
It was a surprise, but now it's a known treat. So it's just, well, it's nice to look at the menu and see what the dessert is going to be. We're so pleased that our dear friend Sybil Davis has agreed to join us towards the end of the webinar to talk with you a little bit and answer questions. Sybil, probably the only person alive who really has a good, strong memory of her friend Raymond Chandler.
And Raymond Chandler raised her.
Raymond Chandler partially raised her. Her mother was Chandler's last secretary down in the San Diego area. And while Mom, Jean Fracas, was working, Ray would regularly go out with the children to get him out of her hair while she was typing up his manuscripts, working on Playback, his last completed novel. And although he was someone who said he'd never liked children, he really connected with Jean's two kids. And Sybil has extraordinary stories about him that she will be sharing. She'll be showing a few artifacts that she inherited from her friend Ray and answering your questions. So a really special thing that not too many people have gotten to do, hear from someone who actually knew him, what it was like to hang out with a guy who he had a crust on him. He definitely created a persona, the Raymond Chandler character, but he was a funny and sweet guy, and she knew him, and she's going to share.
Perfect. Okay.
And I can't wait.
So yes. So it's going to be great. Let's get on to, let's look ahead. Okay.
Goodbye, pretty ladies.
Let's put us right here. So this is our webinar in 8 days.
We want October to be really groovy, and everybody wants to go underground. Really, so here we go. We're going to do an entire program about subterranean infrastructure in LA and some of the daffy stories surrounding lizard people, tunneling people, what have you. Are you excited?
I'm very excited. The photo we're looking at, I'm going to sort of move us out of,
shrink us. Make us ghosts. All right, that works too.
So this tunnel, this tunnel is the tunnel that runs under, this is the subway terminal tunnel from 5th and Hill. And we're going to talk about it at length. And we have video and just...
Yeah, there's so many cool things that happen in tunnels. I mean, this is... listen, we're on the farthest point of the continent. You can't go any farther. Well, you can go to the Channel Islands, but that hardly counts. So if you're actually creating new land by tunneling underground, you've got to be a great adventurer. And the people who engaged in these projects, they just left extraordinary stories behind. And sometimes they found some really strange stuff under there. So we're going to tell you about it. And we may even set you off on a treasure hunt. This is entirely at your own risk, but it is possible if you watch next Saturday's webinar that you will be soon quite wealthy. It is possible. We're not going to search for this treasure, but you might.
Quickly, let's just...
Richard won't let me do stuff like that anymore.
We're going to highlight, so subway terminal tunnel, we're going to talk about the lizard people. We're going to talk about a number of tunnels in the Civic Center from the late 19th century and
fossils. There'll be fossils. Yes.
Okay, so it's just going to be great. Okay, so let's move on, and I don't know where to put us.
Put us over there. That works.
Go. Okay.
So just announced, and I'm so excited about it. Halloween this year. It's a Saturday.
Yeah.
It's a full moon. It's the second full moon of October.
Yeah.
And trick-or-treating is banned, and we're in a pandemic. So all I can do is pull out my favorite weirdo stories of old LA crime with a special focus.
Enough.
You're perfect. A special focus on Halloweeny stuff, which is to say candy and costumes. These stories are unhinged. I promise you, they're weird, they're wacky, they're wonderful, they're terrible. Every single one of them is going to make you think, I did not know that about that particular corner of Los Angeles. And I hope it's just, at noontime, a way to kind of make you feel like this 2020 Halloween is not a complete bust. I cannot wait to see you there. It is, it's definitely nice for me to be able to focus on digging up these stories because, we've been, since 2005, I've been researching LA crime. And we've been giving tours for 13 years. There are so many stories that were maybe part of a tour at one point.
We've been giving tours for more than 13 years.
Well, that's so terrific for 13 years. We've been giving tours for 15 years.
15 years, Kim.
I gave tours before I even knew you. I gave a Cacophony Society true crime tour, actually. But,
we could bicker. I could talk about Paul,
Could I finish my thought? I used to take rock stars to see crime scenes. Well, small rock stars. Can I finish my thought?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So some of these are stories that were part of tours a long time ago. And for one reason or another, those tours either don't exist or the stories aren't part of them. But I really dig them. And so if you only recently discovered Esoteric or you haven't been on every single tour like Richard has, I've actually skipped a couple of tours for travel once or twice, but he's given every tour. You might hear something you've never heard before.
Oh my god!
When I had a book out.
Oh my god!
I think I went and talked at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because some nice person asked
me to
moving on.
Okay, we're not talking about that.
You said I could do that.
It was fine.
It was hard. You were gone. I was.
Okay, we're moving on, Kim. Okay.
Do you like my two-headed girl? That's a little reference to my book about Neutral Milk Hotel.
Yeah. I know. Okay, so
I wrote a book about that.
Okay, so here we are.
I did have a life before you, but it wasn't as much fun.
Okay. What's this is our newsletter. So this is a great way. So if you say, well, I really like watching you on Facebook, but I kind of hate Facebook.
I'm giving up Facebook for
about
Lent
Facebook
or something.
Or I just want you to explicitly push notifications to me about cool
you want me to put LA history into your veins. I can do that.
So
if you have email.
Okay.
So it's so nice now because we have this regular schedule. I'm realizing that the thing to do is just get a newsletter out on Friday. I don't agonize. Today's Friday. I just sent one. I don't agonize over the newsletters quite the way I used to. And maybe that is for the best because, a little less pain in the world is good. But every Friday, I will let you know what's coming up. So you'll get a preview of Saturday's webinar, which you've already heard about. You'll learn what the newest webinar that's 2 weeks out that or 3 weeks out that we've just announced.
So I'm going to interrupt you. So on the subject of, do you worry a little less about the newsletters?
I'm highly strung, darling.
It's like if you worried more, everyone in Los Angeles's head would explode. So it's good that you're just you accept that you're on top of your game. And
do the best I can.
You're on top. You're on top of your game.
I've got links to share, and I wanted to let everyone who isn't on our social media know about Vermonica. So that's in today's newsletter. The Vermonica sculpture, the streetlight sculpture, the original, not that copycat thing at LACMA. It's coming back, and that is. Yeah. I'm so glad, and I wrote about what it feels like to be involved in a collaborative preservation project with artist Sheila Klein. We can't see Sheila because of she lives in Washington State and we're in a pandemic, but she's coming down and finally we're bringing this wonderful work of art back with city support. It's being done starting on Monday. And I had an idea that Sheila dug. And so now documenting the recreation of Vermonica, the streetlight sculpture on historic Route 66 in East Hollywood, sharing pictures on social media with the hashtag Vermonica 2020. That is part of the project. That's part of the conceptual artwork. And you can do that. And if you don't have social media to do that on, and you happen to be out there and you take a picture, email it to us and we'll share it with your credit. I can't wait to see what times of day and what scenes and sites people capture as these beautiful vintage streetlights are being reinstalled, and they will be part of LA forever.
What about the subscription?
Oh, right. So
newsletter.
So that's a free edition of the newsletter. That's what goes out on Friday. And once a month, usually around first 3 days of the month, I do a special edition for people who want to support us. That subscriber edition is hidden from the rest of the internet. You can pay $10 a month or $100 a year. And if you want the skinny and the secrets and the stuff that we find in archives and road trip stories that we're not sharing anywhere else, you can subscribe to that. And you can, if you like, just subscribe for 1 month for $10, read all the old ones, and then go back to being a free subscriber. We want to keep people posted.
Perfect.
And also we want to make a living.
So we're gonna say goodbye.
Oh yeah. So we'd love to see you. It's so nice. Saturdays at noon, people gather around the virtual tour. It's not a bus. Whatever it is we're doing, people come together and there's a chat room. And we'd love to see you there.
It's the space. It's not the Huntington Zen Garden,
No.
which is the photo of us in the background. Yeah. Okay. So Kim, I want to thank everyone. We're gonna go. I want to thank everyone.
I know we have work to do. I have notes to put together about the Ship Cafe and the.
I have to make dinner.
Dragon bamboo slide on the Venice amusement pier. 122 feet high. You sit on a burlap sack. Woo! They tore it down.
Tomorrow is our Raymond Chandler webinar. Please tune in. Just all this, just totally outside the accepted canon of Chandler scholarship, which is the point of our existence. So just a great sort of demarcation of the problem space of who Raymond Chandler really is based on what we know about him. So,
and I think you like him. He's a really neat guy, and he sure lived in an interesting time, and we'll share that with you too. Okay, great. So to sign up for tomorrow, sign up for all these wonderful webinars. Tell a friend. We're in a pandemic. We're making it happen, keeping it real. See you at Vermonica. Yes. From a distance. So stay tuned, stay safe. Stay cool.